folks, I'm Tom Vasel.
Zee Garcia, hello.
I gotta wipe the spit off of my side of my mouth because my tongue was flapping around.
All right.
I'm Sam Healey. What's up, y'all?
Great.
You got some in the eye there?
All right, so this is, we're talking about too soon. That's like it's become something where people would say it and then it's almost become a joke.
Too
right?
soon.
Too soon,
Whoa,
man. Too soon,
man. Too
bro.
But it is a realistic thing, and it's kind of interesting when it comes to board games as to when is it okay to make a board game about a subject. I mean, most people would argue, like, let's say there was a skirmish battle that happened last month. Mm-hmm. It'd be kind of uncouth to make a game about that right now.
Right.
But when is it? There are many games out there about the Titanic, for example. That's over 100 years ago that happened. Is that too soon? There are games that are about World War II, where there are people who are still alive who were part of that war. There are definitely games about Vietnam War. There are many people alive in that war. Is it okay to make a game about 9/11? Or even other disasters that have been back in history we can't even remember them, like Pompeii. We talk about downfall of Pompeii, where you're throwing people in the volcano.
Right, right.
How do you determine if something is in poor taste or not?
Seems like I know that I have played, it's been a long time ago, but I played a game that was set in Mogadishu. And that was during the Clinton administration, where our forces went in and got tangled up with the different warlords that were in Mogadishu. So it has been a few years, probably around, I want to say probably about 5 years since I've played it. But I mean, that was a fairly recent clash, much more recent than...
Is this... I'm sorry, I'm trying to place the
by
clash.
Lock and Load Publishing.
Is this Black Hawk Down events?
Yeah, that's...
Okay, right.
Yeah, it was in Mogadishu, yeah. So, I mean, that has been played. So maybe I use that as a lead-in, talking about maybe the war game genre is a little bit less sensitive, I guess you could say, maybe. I don't want to make them as being insensitive, but I'm just saying that maybe they're less concerned about something like this than, say, a Eurogame crowd or, whatever. But, I mean, I don't... This seems like, to me, it's a little bit of a grandfathered in type of concept where I know we asked this question about movies or TV shows and stuff like that, and it's just kind of we're applying it to
Actually, I was going to say the same thing. I really think there's a parallel between movies in this regard.
Sure.
Like, for example, 9/11. This is a big thing. There's been 2 movies made about it, right? There was World Trade Center, that I know of. World Trade Center, which didn't focus on the event at all, focused on one person in the event, the guy who got trapped in the building.
There's been multiple documentaries about it, too.
Sure.
True. And then there was the other one, the flight.
United
Flight. But I don't think... I think the first one, the one with Nick Cage, was made for entertainment. The second one, I don't know that it was entertainment as much as it was
You mean the
almost like a dramatized...
World Trade Center you thought was...
Not entertainment, but you're like, oh, I hope this guy gets out. There's like an arc and a fall, and has a good ending type situation. I guess I spoiled that movie, but while the other one is more like a dramatized documentary.
I guess for me, the concept of saying how soon is something okay to utilize as source material is not a question in a vacuum, It's both, how long ago was it? That's certainly part of the question, but also... what's the point of view with which you're tackling this subject, Because if the point of view is satirical or the point of view is tongue-in-cheek, sometimes it's never long enough. You know what I mean? It's always too soon. Depends how you tackle that subject, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I think if you are respectful to the source material, your involvement with it, the point of view with which you approach that subject matter is respectful and reverent to what happened, then I think, not having been that long ago is okay, as long as you utilize it in a manner which makes sense, I guess, Does that make sense what I'm saying?
There's a lot of people that probably wouldn't agree with you, though.
I guess,
because I mean, World War II, there's untold number of games with that out there, and there's a lot of hate just because it's about war.
Right.
So any war is not okay.
But that might be a different thing in a sense that they're saying that's just an anti-war game thing itself, no matter what the time frame is.
True. But that's what I'm saying, though. It doesn't matter how respectful or how gentle you are with a subject. There are always going to be people out there that say, no, that's not
those
okay.
people would also have a problem with any war movie,
True.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that this comes down, there's usually 3 categories of games that fall in this. One is war, which we just mentioned. The other is disasters, disasters that have happened, because disasters are, as much as they're abhorrent things in real life, they're certainly interesting enough that there's like a whole genre of movies about disasters.
Sure.
Usually made up ones, but disasters. And then the third one is politics.
Right.
There's a lot of political games out there too, and some of them are like not too soon because they're like made while the election is going on or something. It's like that's too early. I'm not sure, but
well, those also tend to be for the most part very tongue in cheek and silly, and that's
they can, but even that can offend people, right?
Sure.
Right, so we're not going to get into the fact that you can offend people with games, and we know that that's a possibility, but I think the offending of people with the games can play a part in this. Like when I'm playing Pompeii, even like if I'm playing with some Italians, I don't think they're going to be able to trace their ancestry back and be offended over this.
Right.
The only people who'd be offended over is, you're making light of people who got killed in a volcano 2,000 years ago, which is a legitimate concern.
Right.
But
even that statement assumes that you are making light of it.
Well, to be fair, I'm pretty sure I've gone ha-ha when I played the game.
Well, maybe so. But I don't know. I don't like it when people make assumptions about what I'm thinking when they have no clue what I'm thinking.
No, I agree on that. But let's say, and I know I keep coming back to 9/11, but that's like a big event. If someone made a board game, I'd be like, ooh, are you sure? Are you sure? Because I don't see this ending well for anybody. And I'm making assumptions aside, I know people who've lost people in that thing. Right. And that would be a game that would be devastating. No matter what you're thinking, you're making entertainment, because board games are entertainment. You could say they're educational, but we play them for entertainment, about something bad to happen. And yet, when we do that, and we're playing a Civil War game, no one, or General Custer, getting killed, and no one's like, wow, you're making fun of that.
Right.
Although that can happen too. Freedom Underground Railroad. That's not a light topic at all.
Not at all, right. But it's been handled with the correct point of view, is what I'm saying.
Right.
If you make the exact same game and I'm playing the other side of those roles, I have a major problem with that game. Right?
Yes.
I am helping them escape. If it's the opposite, I don't like that idea, right? And that's some time ago. That's what I mean by the point of view goes hand in hand with how long ago something happened. And yeah, sometimes it might be too soon, no matter how respectful you are. And sometimes, I think 9/11, like you said, is not that long ago. That's a tough. I don't think I'd want to play a game about that, no matter how serious the subject matter is treated.
Yeah. See, the thing, I think the first time that I heard this topic come up in our hobby was back that game called War on Terrorism.
War on Terror,
or War on Terror. Yeah. And I understood that argument, I guess you could say.
They were making a satirical game about events that were happening right now.
Right. And that one is again, it's a satirical game, like you said. It's not serious.
True, but it should have been serious.
Oh no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm saying the game makes fun of, it makes light of many things. It's not a game that I'm like Freedom. It is not that. It's the exact opposite of that.
So, I think that, I don't know, it really comes down, I think this topic comes more down to what Zee was saying, the specific individual's point of view. You cannot come over and put a blanket answer on this topic.
Like 20 years is fine. No, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You can't do that. It's impossible, because you'll have, 20 years, you'll have you're sitting at a table with a 30-year-old whose mother was in the trade tower.
Right.
And I mean, that's not going to be okay. It's never going to be okay.
And you also have that, an event that happened 20 years ago might not have had the same impact as another event, right? Not every catastrophe, every happening is going to have the same impact on the world for one, or specific people for another,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it just doesn't work that way. There is a nebulous answer there as to how long ago is okay.
And sometimes you were talking about playing the wrong side
Right.
in the thing. Sometimes the wrong side's going to be different depending on who you talk to. This
Sure, of
especially
course.
comes into play with political games.
Absolutely.
Now, how could you play this person in this political game? Well, I think what they said was right and good.
Right.
What? Table flip, Which is why I think you got to be careful when you play a political game.
Well, those games are, those games that show up on Kickstarter all the time, every time we have a political race, are designed almost more to get people's goat than to really make a good game.
There are serious ones. Like there's
There's
1960.
a few, but most of them are satirical. They have silly cartoon artwork. They are going for that. They are trying to poke the bear. That is what they are designed to do.
Yes.
And that's fine. They want to make a buck. They want to get the game out there. But they're almost expecting to upset people. That's what they're hoping for.
Or they're hoping to be so satirical that they won't upset anybody because
that
it'll
will
be
never
so
happen.
painfully obvious that it's
Maybe.
satirical.
Well, this is why, though, I think it's best. And I really I enjoy games with historical bents to them. I like learning about history a lot. But I kind of like games that have a fantastical theme. I'm not talking like Dungeons & Dragons fantasy, but I could play a political game where I'm playing John Fruit Loop against Bill Cottonmouth, and they're two made-up people.
Okay.
I could play a game about, hey, let's rescue people from this airplane that's crashing that has not happened. Some made-up thing, snakes on a plane type game or whatever. These silly scenarios, I'm okay with that because that's not real. I don't think I'll offend anyone with those. Well, you're always going to offend somebody, but you know what I mean.
Right.
What do you think? I guess is now I'm moderating these comments, okay? So keep things.
Yeah, this is true.
We try not to be politically charged here at all, but this is something that does turn up every once in a while. There's a lot of games out there that have no meaning at all. They're just fantasy or sci-fi or trading in the Mediterranean, which offends me. But you have all these different things. But every once in a while, something comes up. When is it okay to make a game about a certain topic?
I think ultimately, and this is what I like very much about science fiction itself, is that science fiction has a great ability to tackle issues and concerns and real-world problems from a point of view that is not offensive. You know what I mean? And they allow you to explore feelings, allow you to explore where you land in an argument without putting that argument front and center. Games that are able to do that, movies that are able to do that, I'm very appreciative of. When they're able to involve you without putting some event that's going to alienate you front and center. And you can you can ponder on that event without doing so one-to-one. So I think games that are able to do that are very interesting.
I'm much more in the camp of I don't like when people are being sneaky about including that or this into a certain thing. I would rather just be face value. I like one-on-one confrontation much better than see what I did here.
You don't like the accident?
Poke.
I just learned something. You don't like that?
Well, I do that, but I learn something new in one-on-one conversations with people all the time.
But it's like a parable or like a
I don't.
A fable. Or...
I wouldn't use the word parable, but I would. I don't know. I don't like it when games try to be cheeky and try to make a political statement or a societal statement in a veiled or hidden way. I don't like that. If you want to say something, say it.
All right. Well, say it in the comments below. Tell us what you think. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
Zee Garcia, thank you, everybody.
Sam Healey. See you on the flip side.